So welcome everybody to this session on inventory transfer between institutions, also known as the joint inventory flow. As we stressed on the Alma list when this invitation went out, this session is relevant for member institutions of Network Zone Consortia, as well as for the Network Zone administrators of the Network Zone Consortia. Anybody in a Network Zone Consortia, because as we will see, the ordered items are transferred between the member institutions. This is Yoel Kortik, Senior Librarian at Ex Libris, and we're joined today also by Yifat Lulav, also from our Jerusalem headquarters here. And without further ado, I'm going to stop the sharing here and turn this over to Yifat. And Yifat, take it away. I will give you the roles and the privileges, and the floor is yours. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Yoel. I hope everybody can hear me well.
One more side note, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I'll be monitoring the chat during the time, and when appropriate, I'll stop and we'll discuss the questions.
Okay, I'm about to load the presentation. Good morning, good afternoon to everybody, everyone. Today's session, as Yoel said, is going to be about the joint inventory flow. It's relevant for network zone member only, and I'm going to have one part is theoretical, explaining the OLAD and the workflow and what we are going to see. And the other part is practical, in which I'm going to have live demo on Alma environment and to show you the way it works. So let's begin. Let's see, what is the global ID? What is the need we are coming to address and why it's important? The idea is that one member can handle and manage the purchasing of an title, to receive the material, to handle all communication with vendors and budget and funds. And
Yifat, are you sharing your screen, Yifat?
Yeah, I'm not.
I don't see your presentation.
Okay. So
now it says it's starting to share. Now we see it. Okay, great. Thanks.
Okay. So thanks for letting me on time. Yoel letting me know. Okay, the idea is to have one streamlined workflow that allow one member to purchase material, handle all the financial and vendor communication issue, and when material is received by the purchasing library, to have a easy and fluent workflow to transfer, to copy it to the hosting member, to the other member in other institution that actually expected to house the item and all manage all things. This is mainly referred to physical item, less relevant for electronic and activation portfolios, which is should be handled differently and already have solution in Alma. So let's see the main players. The main players, understanding the main players will make it easier for all of us to understand the whole flow. We have two players, the purchasing library in institution A, in member A, all the stage of PO line and create PO line, manage the PO line, send and receive purchase material is done in the purchasing library. Once material is received, we are getting familiar with the host library. The library is that actually going to get the item and supposed to, I don't know, make sure it's cataloged properly, handle it if it's a physical material, for so go to wrap it or define call number and have all kind of fulfillment activity over the item. So we have the purchasing library and the host library. If you want to ask anything about those main terms, please do so. Yoel will tell me if there is a written questions.
So far, no questions in the chat.
Okay, feel free to interrupt whenever you want. We're here for this. So let's see what are the main steps are. The purchasing, done in institution that is paying the create PO line. Inventory is created in the purchasing side. We will see what it means that inventory, the item, the physical item is creating in the purchasing side. The receiving stage, having the item at library coming from the vendor is also managed in the purchasing side in the same library that purchased. In the same time, we can create an item automatically or manually at the host institution saying that, okay, we received the material. Right now, we want to have an item record on the host library so it can be automatically or manually created. And when I said manually, there is also a special action for this. It's not the old way that we used to go and make sure log into other institution or call someone else in the other institution, create a new item. We can create an item at the host institution when we are working on Alma on the purchasing side, okay? Items should be transferred to the host institution, and there is an option to withdraw, to delete the item from the purchasing library. So it means that the item is actually managed at the host now, and we don't need any trace of item record in the purchasing library. So we may withdraw. Again, it can be manual or automatically once received. We will see it. And finally, the host library comes in. It's get the materials, and it can manage the same way its other materials is managed. Again, the creation of the material is automatically once it's received the purchasing side, and we will see how it goes. Workflow outline, we are going to see it in the demo. The purchasing library configure what actually the new things we have defined: remote physical location. Library that decide that is going to buy material for another library should find the other library, the host library, as a remote physical location. Actually, this is the main new interface I'm going to show now today. I will show it in the beginning to show you how you configure other library as a host remote library if you want to give it acquisition services. And after the demo is done, I will show it again so we have some kind of a closure to understand what all those parameters mean and where they come, what are the meaning during the flow. The whole thing is relevant for network zone title only because what we're dealing here right now is not creating a title in other institution, a local cache copy in other institution. We're dealing only with managing the inventory. So the whole things will work only if you are an NZ member and only if you work on a network zone record. When you will try to do this flow for local record, institution record, you won't have all these features that I'm going to say. So be aware of that. The PO line creation interface and flow stay as the item interface. Also, we didn't add any new fields to the PO line nor to the item. We used the same field. The important issue in here is that you have to define the location as the remote physical location. We will see it in a minute. It's not very complicated issue. Believe me. The receive action take place at the purchasing library. At the same time, we can define that item should be withdrawn from the owner, from the purchasing library, and created a new one at the host library automatically. And once item is created at the host library, it can be processed using the post-receiving action, go to the relevant work order, and get managed as any other item received at the library. The only difference is that other library purchased it for me. Sounds like a lot of steps, but if you read it now or afterward, step after step, you will see it's quite natural. Any question over there, Yoel? Anyone writing something?
Nope, no questions. Not in the chat.
Okay. I hope this is because we're clear. And okay, I'm moving. You don't have the full screen. Sorry. Okay, additional capability. I just wrote it down because I'm not sure we will have time to show it, but you should be aware of. The purchasing library, we have a job that allows us to import new order. This import new order is actually a way to load a lot of new order in bulk into Alma. I'm going to show you the online, the one order flow, but the import job also support this. We have already, we didn't create anything else, anything new. The mapping tab for the import profile of orders, map the items into Alma. So once you define a location which is defined as a host location, you will get the whole features, then the things that you are going to see in a few minutes. Another nice thing that we've added for November is so it will be in a few weeks on your machines, on your Alma, is actually the option to have the current job called change physical item information, to take a bulk of item, of physical item, and define that they belong to a remote location and copy item to the host in one bulk, in one job. You can create a set that is not permanent, that is not in remote location, and turn it into remote location using this job, and in the same time copy item to host library. And you can also take a set that's already dedicated to the remote. So this is another way to do what I'm going to show you step by step online. But if you find it useful and you want to have these features on bulk or job or import job, so we already have it for November. This is for November. Another things we have, I'm going to show it live. Okay. So what are we going to see in our live demo? As we said, there are two main players, purchasing library and host library. The purchasing library will be open in a university institution, central library, and the host library, the one that's going to have all benefits, get the item without purchasing it, without working with the vendor and all administration stuff. So the host library will be institution, University of Knowledge, Biology Library. Both institutions belong to Alma network, belong to the same network, two different institutions, two different libraries. Okay, moving forward, what am I going to show you? I'm going to show you the new interface we have created to define a location as a host location. Actually, understanding this host location configuration resolve all things around this workflow. It's one place where the purchasing library define for which library, which are the host library we're going to serve. There is another configuration that, as far as I remember, we have turned it on for all members. it's an acquisition alert saying that when you receive material, that material is actually belongs, should be transmitted to a host library. I'm going to show it as well. Then I will create, from this stage, a new PO line. You will see we have the same field in PO line. We have not added new buttons or new field or new flow. The regular purchase order flow, including sending the order to vendor. Still, we are on the purchasing library side. Then I will show you how items looks at the purchasing line. We will move to the receiving workbench at the purchasing and received material. And once this action is done, the item is copied to the host, and the item can or cannot be, depend on configuration withdrawn from the purchasing library. There are libraries that rather to withdraw items saying, once I receive the materials and it's moved to the host, to its home at the host library, I don't want to have any trace of this material. Other library would like to have some kind of a dummy item for statistics, for analytics, for follow-up, to know how many items they purchased in this for a special method of joint inventory. All kinds of consideration supported in this flow. And then, okay, at the host library, actually, once it received the purchasing library, an item is created at the host library, and we will see how it can go into the in-process item list. In-process item list is list we already have in Alma, which allow us to have all items that should be processed before going into the regular stack, before opening it for fulfillment or for Primo or for whatever libraries, public services you provide in your library. We will see how the items looks, and actually this is very short part of the demo. One more important thing that there is a very detailed online help called Joint Use Inventory in Consortia. It details the setup, the workflow, the criteria, the limitation, and whatever is needed, even more detailed than what I'm going to explain you about. So unless there are questions, I will move to the live demo. I will wait, see if there are questions, and
I don't see any questions, Yifat.
Okay, so let's move forward. The green.
Can the participants just do it? Excuse me, can the participants just let us know everything's all right? No questions in 18 minutes? We just want to make sure it's not because we lost some connection. Can anyone just send in a chat saying you hear us and everything's fine?
Okay.
Okay, someone
Good.
wrote in no questions, so they hear us.
Hi.
Thank you, Yifat. Go ahead.
Hi, great. So the green, I call it the green. This is the Open University, the green because the banner is green. I don't know how it transmitted to your monitors, but it's green. This is our purchasing. This is our main player, the purchasing library. And the purple or blue one is the host library. So the Open University is going to purchase material for the Knowledge University. And let's begin with the configuration. Actually, the one and only interface we've created. I'm moving to configuration. I make sure I'm in Central Library and go to General, Physical Location. So far, nothing is new. We have this feature for quite, I think, from the first day of Alma, defining physical location for the Central Library. But I would like to show you something that was not from the first day of Alma, which is how do we define a location which is actually not in our institution, but in other institution. So I just put a name, remote location knowledge biology, meaning that this location is a remote in knowledge university biology library. This is just text. And if you're a member in a network, you will have another section at the physical location called host location configuration. Once you configure this properly, the whole workflow will work for you fluently, and we will go field by field to understand what is the meaning of each parameter in here. You have an information bubble all around in this tab, so it's helpful to understand. So if you want to define this location as a host location, meaning you are purchasing for this location, so you check this one. In this pull down, you will see all institution, all other member in your network. So I pick University of Knowledge, and once you pick the institution, you will get all the location of this institution. So I pick biology. There is a parameter saying automatically create an item in host library upon receiving. This means when the purchase library, do the receive action, would I want an item created automatically at the other institution? Yes or no? I mark it as a yes because I think this is the main and a very basic part of this workflow. Another parameter is withdraw item from my library, from the purchasing library, when it is created at the host library. Remember, I told you that purchasing library might want to keep the item even though it's not for its own usage, or to withdraw it because any other use case that you can think of. Marking this field actually with withdraw item when it's created, once it's copied to the host library. I mark it as no just for the demo to be able to go back and forth to the item to show you that it was properly copied. But again, this is according to your library policy. Another important information, provenance code of the host item. The emphasis is the host item. When host item is created, not at my library, but at the host library, I would like to have the origin of the item. So I can pick purchase by Open University. This list is coming from it's coming from the host. It's not the provenance code list defined in Open University. It's the one defined in Knowledge University, the other university that I'm doing this service for. Okay, so I picked purchase by Open University. Another piece of information and parameter, place item in the host in process item list. Host in process item list is the list we already have. It's part of item management and post-acquisition flow, which means that after item is received, we would like to have some kind of processing it, copy cataloging and work order over it. That item that will be created at the host library will be placed there in the in-process item list, if I want. If not, I can just have it on the bunch of other items with no special indication. I think that most library will like to have this in process items because it lets them the option to point out materials that should be bind or have further processing before going into stack, and the work order status type for the material. Again, this is list coming from the host, not from the current library, but from the host, like the provenance code. So understanding the whole issue in here, actually, we will go back if we will have time at the end of the workflow, where you will see where all those parameters comes out and have a function. But again, just tweet, and Yoel will tell me if there is any questions around. Okay, I just want to make
I still don't see any questions, Yifat.
Okay, let's move. Okay, so we have a remote location called knowledge biology. Another important thing that as far as I remember, it's already turned on your libraries configuration. Sorry, I want to configure Open University. Acquisitions, manage acquisition alerts. We have a new alert. As far as I know, it's turned on. If not, just turn it on. Called at least one of received item is assigned to remote host location. This message will appear when you receive material that is aimed to be transferred to the host library. So you will be aware that you're receiving material not for your library. You might put it aside or put it on a shuttle or whatever is done with material. You will see that all order fields are just the same. I'm going to take print book one time. The owner is Central Library. You do remember that I configured Central Library. So Central Library, one of its location is the remote other library. And I'm going to assign inventory manually because I want to create this special inventory. So let's move forward to create PO line. This is okay. And I'm going to show you the things that will activate the whole flow. I'm going to add location. I'm going to attach an item, a physical item, to this order. And when I pull down the libraries, I can see that I have one of the libraries is my remote location. You remember that by text, I call it remote location, knowledge base, biology. This is what I define. And once I pick this is a trigger to the system to understand that the whole things is joint inventory flow, and all features that I'm going to show you depend on two things. The title is ANSI record, and the item is assigned to a remote location. Okay, so this is very important. I choose not to give item policy anyway. It's not my real item. I'm just buying it for someone else. I'm the shopper, not the user. So in here you can see I have a barcode created, an item created, and if we go to see this item, it's a regular item with a location which is stated remote, and I'm going to write receiving node. This is for bio library and whatever I want to see in university, other institution, other member of my consortia. Okay, whatever I want, this is receiving now. And all other step in here is just as regular. I'm going to pick the supplier. Nothing special in this. Okay, I'm going just to avoid all fun and things. I'm going to give it as a gift, not because it's important to this flow, just to don't deal with budget and stuff. And I'm going to first, and now the order is ready. As you can see, I have attached an item. If I go to the item itself, you will see later on, you will see it's a regular item. I'm going to copy the number and I'm going to order it. Okay, the system tells me there are another PO line from my testing just a few minutes before the session. I confirm, and this is PO line 180. Okay, I want to show you the items itself. Let's see. So if we go to see the item created as part of the purchasing, this is the item created at the purchasing side. So mine is 224. And you can see this is a regular item. This is a PO line number. You can see that the permanent location is Central Library Remote. So this is a trigger for the whole things. There is not any extra fields or things that you should be aware of. Okay, so this is the item. The next thing is to receive materials. So I go to acquisition, and it's probably went a few days, maybe 2 weeks until I got the material from the vendor. I'm not supposed to remember which title I ordered to which, so I'm going to show you. This is a list of all received material. And I have a lot of materials in here, and you can see that part of them, the location is Central Library Remote, is part of them, the location is local. Okay, so I'm going to assign, because I got the a few titles. Part of them are sorry. Part of those materials are for my library. The first two, and the third is for the first two is for other library, and the third is for my library. And you remember, once we do receive, we've configured that automatically create item at the other library. And in addition, I want to keep the item. I don't want to I don't know, to keep it, I want to keep it in my library as well. So I click receive, and the system tells me that at least one of the received item is assigned to a remote location. So this pay my attention that I might do something else with those received materials. Now I will get a transfer slip, which can be used to as a slip or as a notification. This is a transfer letter, it's not a special letter for this flow. It's just a regular transfer letter that is configured in this environment. So actually I received the material, and this is where the purchasing library ends. And from this point, we are going to move to the host library and see what happened over there. Let's see, this is a purple, yeah. So I'm going to extend the screen. Can you see the Ex Libris Knowledge purple? You see the host member?
Yes, we do. Yes, we do.
Good. If I go to acquisition, if you remember, I marked that I want the material to be in process list. So in process list is the list of material that I would like. This is a Derico, and before I did a few tests with biology dictionary. And if we go in here, actually this is an item that can be processed. I want to, once I received it, you can see in here the provenance. You remember that this is the provenance code I wanted to define for material purchased for the other library. So this is the purchase. You can see that the operator is the system, and the name of the name of the machine actually that created this order. You can now define the policy. You can now define whether it's part of your fulfillment services or resource sharing or whatever you want to do. This is actually one of your items. You can move it to cataloging, for binding, whatever you want. One thing that I want to show you is to go back to the purchasing library and to show you that I've started the whole things with I want to show you titles. I started the whole things with PO line flow with the purchasing, but I want to show you, let's see if I have this item in here, that, okay. I want to show you the items list, and you can create an item without going through the purchasing order flow. You can just create an item from NZ title and define a remote location and have copy item to host library. You don't need to go through the purchasing library. This option of copy item to host library will appear only if it's a network zone and only if it's a remote location. So I can copy, and one more thing that you will show in here, that there is an alert, hey, you are going to copy something that not yet received. I confirm, because I want to show you another feature is when I do the copy item for the second time, I will have a message saying the item was already copied. You remember, seconds ago, I clicked this action and the system wants to alert me that I'm going to create another copy, which is probably a redundant one at the host library. So I do cancel because this is just a mistake, a human resource mistake. So I know this is a lot of information, but when you think about it, you have a purchase order, you have an item with host location, and all other tools and workbench that pay your attention that you are working this joint inventory flow. Let me see if I forget anything on my list, and meanwhile, try to digest what you heard just so far, and let me know if you have questions. And afterwards, of course, if you will have questions, you can send me. And there is an online help that is very detailed. So
No
I'm
questions
going over.
came in, Yifat.
Okay. So I guess we are done. Yoel, what do you say?
Yeah, if there's no questions or comments, we're all done, and we will post the recording.
Okay, fine with me.
Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a nice day.
Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.